Today we're going to be working on your border samples. These are examples that you can use in your visual journal when we get that far. We'll be looking at magazine pages, chalk pastel and baby wipes, a black and white border, and a book page with oil pastels. We'll be putting this in your book that we just made. So if you open it up to the blank page, and then you're going to put the magazine sheet underneath if you're using Sharpie to make sure it doesn't bleed through. And you're just going to label the different ones that we're going to do. Like I said, magazine sheet, chalk pastel, baby wipes, black and white, and the book page with the oil pastel. Write these kind of close to the center. That way you actually have room for the border. For these, the border works really well if you have it about the width of your finger. That's about a ½ inch or so. That works really well. That's about what these are, give or take. So they don't have to be huge. First one we're going to look at is the magazine page. These are some examples that I gathered. So what we're wanting to do is finding colors and patterns that aren't really recognizable. So not actual objects, like not flowers, not actual ads or things like that, but we're just looking for color. So here's an example of one that I've already done. As you can see, they're just kind of blotches of color. These are some that I took out of the magazine. Here's my color pieces that I have. And then these are the magazine pages I took it from. These are mostly from like backgrounds. That green one came from here. The blue one was the wall right there. This one had a lot of green. That would have worked. That reddish orange color was from here. And this one had also some solid areas in this that would work, as well as the blurred out green in the back. That would work as well. And maybe even if you cut some of this pink, that would have worked out too, because you can't really tell what it is once you remove the background. So I'm going to also give you an example of how I want you to glue these in. So when I have the magazine sheets, it would work really well if you want them all the same length, which we would, to line them up and then trim them together. That way they are the same length. And we talked about that when we did the mixed media page, if you were doing the borders, how to make them all the same. This one, I'm going to cut that off so it's hanging out there. So I have them all stacked up over here. And I'm just going to, oops, sorry, trim that side. So that way they're all the same. I'm going to take this out because I don't need it in there anymore. And then how I want you to glue these down is if you take your glue stick and have a magazine sheet in front of you, there's going to be some messy materials plus the gluing. So take the color swatch that you want. I have the size that I need. I'm going to flip it over and go ahead and just put this clear over the whole entire piece, so that even though there's glue that gets out here, that way this piece is all sticky and ready to go. You don't have to worry about any edges coming up. When people look at your visual journal, they don't want to worry about pieces falling out. So it is important that pieces are fully connected and not going to come out. So that's pretty smooth there. And then for your next piece, you can either just kind of move over, or if it gets glue all over it, you can fold this over so you have another clean spot on the back. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one real quick. And we do want these to line up because it's the border of your page. So the best you can. I'll line that up on there. And then I'll finish that last piece a little bit later. But I put another one clear over here so it goes to the edge. The next one I want to show you is the chalk pastel. So with the chalk pastel, you'll be using a strip of paper to do the pastel on. And then we're going to cut it out and we'll put it right on there. Chalk pastel and baby wipes. There's some an agent in the baby wipe that makes it spread really easily. With the chalk pastel, this works for acrylic paint too. But with the chalk pastel, it'll also kind of grind it into the paper, so you don't have to worry about it transferring onto any other sheets like maybe you normally would if you just drew with it. So I have my baby wipe, and I just wrapped it around my finger. Choose a color that you want. So I'm getting color on there. And then I'm just gonna lightly go over the paper and be moving as you do this, because if you go too much over that paper, it's gonna disintegrate, and that's not what we want to happen. If your paper starts to feel wet, just move on to another area. But I'm gonna go back and forth with a couple of colors. So I'm gonna choose the light blue and the dark blue here. But just use the baby wipe all the way down. And you can choose how many colors you want to do, but this is how you transfer it. Okay, I would maybe do a little bit more. You could even let this dry a little bit if you needed to and go back over it. Okay. So that's how you use the baby wipe and oil pastel. You could also, if you ever are doing a design, you could do a cutout of something, and then you would have the lines from there too. So I would maybe cover this just a little bit better, but then go ahead and use that. And then I would cut this out and use it for my border on the chalk pastel side. You can decide if you want to do like a wavy border or a zigzag. I might do this one a wavy just because. I can show that to you quick. So I'm just going back and forth. If you were using this for your visual journal, you could use this for a top and a bottom, but for this project, we only need one side. And then decide where that's gonna go. And then I just marked it with my finger, and I'm gonna trim that off so it's not too big. And then I'm gonna use this with my glue stick. To put that on. And that's what we're gonna do today, is that those two, and then we'll show you the next two tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and glue on my other strip now.